Today is August 6th, 2024, and something major has changed in the world of real estate in Florida.
Besides your underwear?
Besides my underwear. I hope people don't think we actually take time to write these bad jokes.
Real estate agent man.
That was actually Nikki's spur of the moment
Dad joke.
dad joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm the dad. So that's kind of weird.
And now your host, Steve Martin Smith.
No, but seriously, August 6th will be an important date in real estate history because today they removed the commission offering to buyer's agents from our MLS. Now, I'm not sure that that has occurred in every MLS across the state or certainly every MLS across the country today. It is happening by the 17th of this month. But today was our day in Stellar MLS, which covers Southwest Florida, at least down through Charlotte County, and it goes all the way up to Tampa, Hillsborough, into Orlando. It's a big area. And so now we are all blind as far as what is being offered for compensation. We're going to present 5 top questions that buyers should be asking their agents now. That, frankly, you could have been asking these questions before. You probably weren't, and now you're really going to want to.
Now you're going to kind of have to.
Yeah, kind of have to cover your own butt, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So, but before we do that, let's just take a quick market update here. I'm looking at a sheet that I printed that is for Sarasota County for the last 7 days. And on this, it shows that there were 174 new listings, 187 pendings, which is healthy. More single-family homes and villas went under contract than came on the market, so that's helping to burn off some of that excess inventory we've been looking at. However, to get there, we had 295 price decreases. So people who are serious about selling are realizing that they can't get what they used to be able to get for their house.
The market has changed.
The market has changed.
Shifted really just closer back to normal.
Yes. But the big thing that I am always talking about, and every time I talk about it, I say I'm always talking about it. Mm-hmm. But 40% of the amount of pendings went back on the market in the last 7 days. 40%.
Just in the last 7 days.
Just in the last 7 days, just in one county for single-family homes and villas. That doesn't even include condos. 40% is insane. The only logical explanation for that is poorly negotiated contracts. For
the majority of
right,
them, yes.
For that large of a percent. Yeah, there'll be other reasons. But for that large of a number.
Yeah, it's all those as-is contracts with the 15-day inspection periods.
Yeah. So, and then just...
Not saying that those don't have their place, because they do.
Yes, and we have a full podcast on that topic.
Yes,
we just recorded it a few weeks ago, so go back and look for that one to learn more about that. But let's hit on condos real quick. So, a lot less activity with condos in the last 7 days in Sarasota County. You saw our last market update podcast on that. You know why. 15 back on the markets, 44 pendings. That's 34%. Okay, but we're dealing with much smaller numbers. The condo movement is quite slow.
Snail-like,
right
yeah.
Snail-like.
And again, we know why.
We know why, exactly. So that's going to be it for that little quick market update. Now, let's get into this 5 top questions.
Okay.
And I will point out to the audience, I know I've already explained this to you, Nikki, that I didn't say top 5 questions because there's other really important questions too. But these are 5 of the top questions that you should be asking your buyer's agent right now. Because the mandated changes from the Department of Justice, right? This is the DOJ. They are being actively implemented at this time. This will affect our use of the MLS and requirements for working with home shoppers. This affects the way we do our job, the way that we interact with you. And if we don't follow these laws, the Department of Justice is, I think, chomping at the bit to try and start busting some of us on this stuff for doing it wrong. I guess that could border on conspiracy theorists, but
let's not go there.
We're not going to go there. All I know is that this is real and we have to take it seriously. So what you need to know, if you've already been working with a licensed real estate agent, and do not currently have a signed buyer broker agreement. We call that a BBA. So if you hear us saying BBA, we're talking about that buyer broker agreement. And what that is essentially is just something in writing that says you have chosen a brokerage to represent you. If you're smart, you've only chosen one, because if you choose more than one, then you could be on the hook to pay the same amount of commission to multiple brokerages. So you don't want to do that to yourself. So pick a brokerage, pick an agent within that brokerage, and make them your agent. I've been preaching that for 10 years, but now you're going to be in a position where you have to, because nobody's going to be showing houses without that unless they're living on the edge.
Yeah, because we're not actually allowed to. That would be a violation.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like lose your license and your ability to earn an income type stuff, along with who knows what other fines. I saw something about potential jail time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pretty serious.
Right.
They're not joking.
Right. And so the thing that I just said about, what we're focusing on right now is if you already have a portal set up, right? So let me kind of explain that scenario if you're not following me. There's a lot of times that you might walk into an open house and you meet an agent there, and that agent says, hey, I can set you up, with a portal. It's going to come from the MLS, and it's going to, send houses to you that you tell me are in your criteria. So that's the exact thing that I'm talking about right now. Now, we don't tend to do that just to random individuals that we meet like that. What we've done is we've had people go online, fill out our wish list, or we sit down with them in the office and we really get to know them a little bit better. And we start building that relationship when we set up the portal. That's our normal MO. But I have known people that I've set up a portal for that then I come to find out they actually had portals set up with other agents, because they went into those open houses.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised. Even I've had this happen with somebody who was a friend. They had other agents sending them portals, like, "Oh, it's no big deal." I'm like, "Well, it kind of is."
Right.
Kind of is.
Yeah. Well, it really is now, because it might be considered in some people's minds as a gray area whether the setting up the portal requires the buyer broker agreement. But I've been in enough meetings, and I've heard my RE/MAX broker that we hold our license with. I've heard him also say that it is not worth the risk to the brokerage to not have the buyer broker agreement before we actually set up the MLS portal, because it seems like there might be a little bit of a gray area in there, and you don't want to take the chance. Okay. We are, as a brokerage, as agents, as a team, RE/MAX is saying we're going to do this in advance because we don't know exactly what the DOJ and the judges are going to do if we don't follow the rule this way.
And I'm sure a lot of brokerages will be following suit or doing the same.
Right. Well, I mean, think about it. The National Association of Realtors paid out over $400 million for this thing. RE/MAX paid out $55. Coldwell Banker paid out $85. Keller Williams is some huge number. You think they're going to be in the mood to take risks?
No. Yeah, no.
Right?
No.
Yeah. It's just not worth it. Now, the things that we're about to say, we're going to go through this question and answer thing. It could also apply to if you don't have an MLS portal set up right now, but you are considering doing that with an agent down the road. And we are personally, as a team, going to be reaching out to everybody that we have a portal set up with, because we have lots of portals set up with people who are just in other states and casually looking. They're not serious about buying a house right now. We haven't, been taking them around, or maybe they were down here a year ago, right? We took them around, got to meet them a little bit, but they're still figuring out how they're going to make the move. So it hasn't been a serious experience. I have to let every single one of them know this week that if you want to keep that portal, we have to sign a buyer or broker agreement.
Yeah.
Right? So here we go. Nicole, why don't you go ahead and read the first question?
All right. Steve, can I call you Steve?
You can, when we're at the podcast table only. Otherwise, it's Dad.
Okay. Steve, can I still use the MLS portal that my agent has set me up on? We just covered that.
We did, but I'm going to read my answer in full anyway.
Okay.
In order to keep an MLS home search portal active for a home shopper, a buyer brokerage agreement will need to be in place. Otherwise, your agent will need to delete your portal in order to avoid repercussions from Department of Justice scrutiny. And you're right. We just,
Absolutely ridiculous. But
Yes.
okay.
But we just went over all that, so we're not
Yeah.
going to elaborate.
So next question, Steve. What if I just want to view a home that is for sale in person with a buyer's agent?
In order to show a property to a home shopper, a buyer-broker agreement will need to be in place. There's no exceptions there.
No, basically, if you want to be a buyer and work with an agent, you're signing a brokerage agreement.
That's it.
That's just it.
Yeah, it's that
it.
simple. But
Yeah.
you know what? If you think about it, it's the same thing as any seller that calls and says, I would like RE/MAX to list my house.
Oh, for sure.
the
And
exact same
honestly, this really could have been mandatory forever, minus the commission aspect of it, not being able to, put that on the internet, on the MLS to let us know how we're getting paid. This other part of it really will organize a lot of things, I feel like, in the buyer agent world.
Yes. Oh, 100%. And buyers will hopefully become more comfortable and more educated on the process they're going through. I see this whole part of it actually as a positive. This part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
Question 3. What am I actually committing to when I sign a buyer brokerage agreement?
The details can vary and be somewhat negotiable. You will need to see what your preferred agent offers in regards to service and compensation options. View this agreement like you would any other service provider in your life. Maybe, an example could be some lawn maintenance companies only mow and trim. Their monthly rates should be less than companies that will also pull your weeds and trim your trees.
Yes, half the work, half the price.
Exactly.
Yes.
And sometimes it's, half the skill level, half the price. I know in the hair industry, I thought it was always a great thing that you knew that you could go in and save money on your haircut by going to somebody who just got out of cosmetology college, right? That one's going to cost less. If you want the owner who's been doing this for 20 years, you're going to pay more for what's typically the same service, but it's your confidence in the quality of that service.
Correct. You're paying for the expertise and experience.
Yes, yes. So you decide what level of service you want and what it's worth to you. Do you want the agent helping you to represent you or just the transaction? Did you even know that was possible? We have a podcast, again, just a few weeks ago that we hit on representation. That's going to be really important for you to listen to if you haven't heard that one yet, because there's different levels of representation and not every agent's allowed to work at those levels. But if you don't make a decision on what level of service you want, you might be paying for stuff that you're not getting.
Yeah, and in my opinion, you should not have to pay as much for a transaction agent as you would a single agent.
Yeah, that to me makes perfect sense.
And do you want your agent to write the best contract for you or simply the best contract to keep them out of trouble?
That's good stuff. It really is, because that's how this system works, and people just don't know it, except for you, the listener, who have taken the time to listen to this podcast. You're getting educated. Do you want your agent to drive you around? Are you looking for that full service experience? Because from what I know, there's not a large amount of agents anymore that are willing to do that. Like, put you in their vehicle, take that liability, drive you around and be like, the Disney tour guide who's going to say, and on the right, we have this, and on the left, we have this. We get so many people in this area who don't really know this area. They've heard of Sarasota. And so they think, I want to learn about Sarasota. I may want to live there.
Yeah.
Right? Well, there are times that I have played tour guide for those people and helped them very quickly to find the best area for them, as opposed to if they would have just come down and driven around themselves for a week without any real clue as to what areas would have best met their needs.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's like a travel agency, a real estate travel agency.
That's a high level of service.
It is. Mm-hmm.
And that does have a price tag to it and a value to it.
Yeah.
Right? So do you want your agent to work evenings, weekends, and possibly holidays? I know
you're paying more.
Yeah. We have done all of that for our customers, and it's amazing how many times on a Friday or Saturday night we're negotiating a contract at like 9 o'clock, getting signatures and sending it off before midnight so they have it in their inbox first thing in the morning.
Oh, absolutely. I literally once pulled over on the side of Alligator Alley and wrote a contract with a hotspot on my phone with 2 huskies and a toddler in the car because it had to be done right that moment.
And that's dedication that you want to make sure you're going to have from your agent if that's important to you. If you're so relaxed that, you know what, a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, agent, it will do.
Give us a call. We can work for you too.
Yeah, that's right. We you're right. We could do that. But just know that a lot of times when the work has to be done, it's not between 9 and 5, Monday through Friday. We will be right back right after this reminder to subscribe and leave a review for the Real Estate Agent Man podcast. There is so much to know about buying and selling a home that the masses are just not aware of. That is why we provide professional coaching to Florida's sellers and buyers on every episode and personally to every client. We want our customers to have the knowledge needed to make the best decisions possible for themselves and their families. Our real estate team personally covers Sarasota, Charlotte, and Manatee counties. However, Steve also interviews agents from around the state and the country to find great agents for customers out of our area. Visit stevemartinhomes.com for more information. And now, back to the podcast. So do you think that the agent should help you work through issues that come up during inspections?
I would like to have somebody to at least bounce ideas off of that knows a little bit about what they're talking about.
Yeah. And depending on what contract you use, that's the other thing. Like what contract? Well, no, I think you actually hit on that earlier about like the best contract for you, right? So one of the contracts has more of a requirement for repairs than the other one does. And if you're a buyer who wants to make sure those repairs are done, then you're probably going to benefit from having an agent who's willing to get in there and help make sure that that's all done per the contract.
Yeah, they do the legwork up front for you, know how to do it.
Yeah.
So that when you get to that point, the sellers are going to have to make repairs based on whatever you wrote in the contract, or you can say, never mind.
Right.
Yeah, best for you.
Yeah. So, all that kind of was like an add-on to the question, what am I actually committing to when I sign a buyer brokerage agreement?
Yeah.
That is like scratching the surface of how this stuff really plays out. There's so many different scenarios. There's no way we can hit it all in one podcast.
No. And it would probably be boring to try to.
Okay, so then what's the next question?
All right. How hard is it to get out of a buyer brokerage agreement if I decide I want to stop working with that particular agent or brokerage?
I would think that would be like one of the number one questions that somebody would have before they're signing one of these.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How permanent is this decision?
Yeah, how permanent is it? What am I getting myself into? So before signing a BBA, look for a section that provides you to be able to end the relationship without penalty by simply presenting your termination request in writing to the brokerage. Not all brokerages may provide that option, but I have done that my entire time in real estate. I have been happy to show the person signing my BBA Section 9 that shows on there that you just present your request in writing and it can be terminated. But I've never had that happen in 10 years. And I think part of it is because I say this to people, and I'm like, just
Feedback.
Yeah.
Is
feedback.
welcome.
Yeah. How are we doing? How's it
Yeah.
going? But if you, for whatever reason, don't feel like you can do that and you just want to end it, Section 9, at least on our listing agreements, give you the
buyer
right,
broker agreements.
Yeah, the buyer broker agreement. Did I say listing?
You did.
Thank you for correcting me on that. Section 9, I can't think of what Section 9 says on the listing agreement. Section 9 of the buyer broker agreement does just make it really easy for you to say, I want to be done with this. But do we have another question here, Nikki?
Yeah, one more.
Okay.
Once I sign a BBA with a brokerage, does that mean they will be legally representing me and my best interests? Ooh.
Only if you sign a single agency agreement, and most brokerages do not allow their agents to represent their customers at this level. You will have to specifically seek out this level of representation or ask Steve Martin Smith to find you such an agent.
Listen to you talking in third person. It's so cute.
Yeah, thank you. Well, truth be told, I wrote this as a blog. I haven't posted it yet. So this question and answer thing is going to be on our blog page.
Okay.
And the audio to this podcast is going to be there. So we can send this out to anybody that we need to. This is kind of my evil plan because I'm going to be sending this to all of my customers and then following up with a phone call, making sure that they have this information. Because it's just obviously...
So many birds, one stone.
Yep. It's the most effective way I know to make sure I'm saying the same thing to everybody.
Yes. Good old consistency.
That's-
And I'm just here for the jokes.
All right. So not, an overly humorous or exciting podcast, but very, very important.
It's because I was tired. I'm the one that brings the energy usually.
Yeah, you normally do.
Yeah.
And I'm looking across the table from you, watching you nurse a cup of coffee there, and,
But you guys, we just needed to get this done.
Yes.
We need to get it out there.
Yes.
So I did it for you. You're welcome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I love that about me too.
Yeah. We know that coaching you through this stuff is one of the best things that we can do to help you be prepared for whatever it is you're going to go through with real estate. So,
And this is a big change. And today is the day.
yes, it is. So before we go, I want to give a shout out to some of the people that are listening to us around the globe. We have listeners in Bangladesh. Did you know that, Nikki?
Now I do.
Now you do.
Now I do.
Yeah.
I am wiser now.
Is that not crazy?
It is.
We've got Lake Stevens, Washington. People are listening to us on the other coast over there.
Well, winter's coming up soon.
Oh, yeah, that could be too. Staten Island, New York. Hello, Staten Island. Let's see, I'm just scrolling through this list of 800 and something cities around the globe. Let me find some other countries here. So I don't even know how to pronounce these. Sao Paulo. What is that?
I don't know. This is really boring to listen to right now, though.
Yeah, it is. It is. Stockholm. Oh, good old Michigan. Mount Clemens, Michigan.
It's probably Grandma.
It could be. It could be your grandmother's listening to you. That's exciting. So, hey, wherever you are at, thank you for listening to the Real Estate Agent Man podcast, where we discuss secrets of Florida real estate that should not be secrets.
Wanna own a place like the ones you've seen, maybe near the beach or a golf course green. You're searching on the web and housing magazines. It's time you call Steve Martin Homes to reach your dreams. We sell Sarasota homes. We sell Sarasota homes. Sarasota area homes.
This is exciting. This is exciting.